Hello, hello. I wanted to record a quick little battleship guide. Maybe explain some basics and just explain some of my thought process with a bit of a live commentary. Playing Kremlin here. Just picked the most generic battleship I could really. There's quite a few other generic ones out there. Montana, for example, right? But I picked Kremlin because it allows me to showcase certain things. Overmatch, big factor for Kremlin. Also just DCP and heal usage. Generally quite an aggressive ship, so allows me to create a lot of crossfires with my aggression. However, looking at the matchmaking in this game, won't be pushing too early. They have quite a lot of problems for a pushing ship, so going those in against potentially like Cassard gearing, U4501, the submarine, could be very big issues. So we will be reversing in if we are pushing at first. And if we do create an advantage, we're going to be looking for that actual push. So first things first, really, with battleships, you're always looking to create crossfires. Unfortunately, both the battleships from the middle are leaving our flank, so we are essentially going to be solo. Not really going to get a huge opportunity to create crossfires. So I'm going to be playing somewhere around this position. My current build I'm running is... I've forgotten two flags, that's completely my own fault. Pretty standard. Swapping concealment here for heavy AP and preventative maintenance. Quick explanation of why that works for Kremlin is because if you run this AA skill, you get minus 40% cooldown reduction, and you will get your heals and DCPs back so quickly that you don't need to worry too much about losing the Stalingrad there, that's unfortunate. About DCPing fires. You will get them back pretty quickly, and because heavy AP gives you minus 10% fire damage, you actually take less damage from fires with this. Now I don't recommend it for CBs. I think the conceal is kind of needed for CBs. However, I think this is a good build for randoms, and it is worth running. Kind of stuck nose in here, being spotted by the submarine. Subspotting, pretty big problem when you don't have concealment. I have 49 conceal right now, so not amazing. I should be fine here though. None of the ships overmatch me, so staying nose in, as long as the submarine doesn't get on top of me, not going to take too much damage. Because I aimed too far ahead, didn't see the Mecklenburg was slowing down. Submarine is now pinging me, so the submarine has indeed advanced on me. I'll be pinging that out and hoping my submarine comes and helps. I would like ideally to be set on fire so I have an excuse to DCP. I think I should be able to reverse around the island before these submarine tops hit me, so I shouldn't be at too much of a threat. And I also did just set a permanent flood on this submarine. Now this means oil slicks are going to come on the water, and because I only used one depth charge at a time, I'm able to follow up with an accurate depth charge. That is the biggest piece of advice I can give to battleship players for dealing with submarines. You see straight away there, I get a direct hit. When you're dealing with submarines, try to only use one depth charge at a time. You will absolutely fuck submarines if you actually hit your depth charges, and you are the biggest deterrent too. So, we got the submarine down. Guy went for me too aggressively. And here's the enemy gearing. We have an opportunity to fight him. Our Marceau is already dealing damage to him. He may kill our Marceau. Going to hold my shots for when he goes broadside so I can deal the highest potential damage. He's just going to die anyway, so I'm going to fire early just so I can get the kill, being a little bit greedy. And there we go, there's our second kill. So, that is our two biggest threats out of the game. Now, because we've dealt with our threats, we're going to start getting aggressive. Unfortunately, our submarine goes down, not the biggest deal. We trade it for 2 to 1. So I would say that's worth. I'm going to DCP this. My DCP should last until my firing penalty ends, and there we go. So I go dark, and I'm able to reposition out wide to the flank. Now, I'm still pretty outnumbered here, so I'm not going to be going fully in. Going to be biding my time, looking for those juicy broadsides. This Puerto looks like he's going to push in, actually, so I'm going to angle away from the Wisconsin and Mecklenburg and the Stalingrad, and I'm going to prepare to shoot him. Kremlin as a ship, pretty bad dispersion at long range, so you're looking for those close range fights, ideally. You won't always get them. A lot of times in today's games will be quite kitey. But as long as you're patient and make sure you use all of your consumables, you will generally get pretty consistently good games. We have a Schlieffen pushing into us here. So just on like the BB front, we are outnumbered 3-1. We have dealt with our main threats though, so I'm not feeling too afraid. I've taken too long to reposition here, to be honest. I should have been dealing more damage. I should have been firing more often. The big thing you want to do in BBs is because your reload is so long, but you have such high alpha. If your guns are ever reloading, it's basically a waste of your time. So seeing the Wisconsin here, he was angled in, but he's turning out. You want to keep your eyes out for ships making maneuvers like this. If you ever see anyone turning in or out, or if they're already broadside, look for if they are going to turn in or out, and you predict how they're going to move. So we slap him quite nicely there for about 25,000. You're just looking for those opportunities. So those are the scenarios where you're going to be holding your shots, is if you see someone broadside and you believe they're going to turn, you're going to try to predict how they're going to turn. This guy's just staying broadside to me. I don't really know what he's doing. He's not got anything to angle against, he's just sat broadside to me. I guess he's afraid of the Marceau or the Trump, but he's so far away that he shouldn't really be afraid, especially in a ship that has a reload booster for the damage control. Unfortunately, we still did get no citadels, but that's okay. I am showing a little bit too much broad to him here. He has pushed wide, so what he's doing is creating a crossfire. If I'd HE though, I'm not too sure about that one. Schlieffen pushing in here, pretty big issue for me. I have an opportunity to go for the Stali. Not going to be taking it, it's not worth my time, honestly. And we're going to free look like this so I can reposition and get my guns turned back like this. So at this point, because we're still outnumbered, we're going to be kiting away. This Schlieffen is the priority target. He's overextending, so the entire team's going to be able to focus him. Hopefully we're able to kill him without any casualties. Saving my heal there just to get maximum value out of it. You can see with the regen assistant down here, when it fills up, or when the number on top goes orange, that is when you should be healing. You don't really want to heal too early. There are times you can heal early. For instance, if you are already pretty close to your max efficiency heal and you get set on fire, you know you're going to get maximum value out of it. So at that point, you take that opportunity and you will go and use your DCP. Another kill on the Schlieffen here. That was nothing special really. We're pretty lucky here getting 3 kills from the 64k damage, but the enemy team kind of been inting. Game's over way too quick really. Battleships, generally you like quick games. Unfortunately, this was only an 8-minute one. Not much we can do about it. This Wisconsin loves firing HE. Unfortunately, I don't really care because I'm a Kremlin. So I'm kind of going to coin flip it, and I'm going to say that he doesn't load AP. Show him broad and turn back into him in an effort to just greed for a little bit of damage. We are being shot by the Mecklenburg. You can see the shots coming in here. Should be angled in time. Not particularly high caliber, doesn't overmatch us, so I'm not particularly afraid of his damage. There's the Wisconsin. He has fired HE again. He's a little bit potato, but that's okay. He's got the spirit. If he gives me more potential damage, I'm happy. Just looking to inflate our damage here before the game ends. Realistically, no way we lose this, so I'm allowed to play over aggressive. This Wisconsin is showing too much broadside, so I'm going to be aiming under the front turrets. The closest part of the ship is the least angled part. Unfortunately, I did potato my aim here. This version also kind of fucked us. But generally, the least angled part of an enemy ship is going to be the closest part to you. So you want to aim for the closest part of the enemy citadel, which here will be under the Wisconsin turrets, unless he becomes too angled. And when he becomes too angled, which he won't because Wisconsin armor isn't amazing, that is when you want to start aiming for upper bell or superstructure pens. I unfortunately didn't really have an opportunity to explain that this game. Yeah, this game was kind of just a whole lot of yap and not too much results. Still get a good chunk there at the end of Salem's life. So he's going to come around the corner and should be a pretty free kill for us. I don't think our commissar's launched planes all game, but he's also on my, sorry, no, different guy. I was about to say he's on my blacklist, but don't believe he is. There we go, Stalin broadside at 12 km. This is about what Kremlin specializes at, so you see the dispersion way better, under 15 kilometers, and very dead Stalingrad. Yeah, just kind of in thing again. Sometimes, a lot of the time you get games like this though. Realistically, this was over in like 5 minutes. Their team did not play very well. We picked up on the ships that were overextending, punished it, teched what we could, 3v1 in quite a while, made sure we used as many consumables as possible without dying ourselves. Okay, so for the second game in this video, super ship matchmaking, some tier 9s, nothing too special. We are playing in a division with a destroyer, and we are going to be playing around that in order to support him. Been recognizing the chat there quickly. So no planes this game, so we will not really get any value out of our tier 2 skill. Quite unfortunate. Did fix the flag issues that I was having. That's completely my own fault. However, it does mean we're quite a lot tanky now. Looking at our team's deployment, 2 BBs going over to A. We have the sphere coming to the middle to support the daring, so I'm also going to hang around as a bit of a cruiser deterrent. And once we have a cap locked down, I can move to create a crossfire. In fact, we have the Satsuma moving over to that flank as well, so I probably want to hang around probably the left side somewhere, or ready to go around there. One thing you can do with Kremlin is, because it's a very, very, very tanky ship, you can look for some obscenely aggressive pushes. So you can pull some really stupid stuff that other ships can't. But at that point, it's just knowing your ship's limits. Kremlin will get punished if it's called broadside, very hard. If you are nose in or angled, you are a very, very, very effective tanking ship. So your main advantage in the ship is just the amount of damage you can take. A lot of times you can just get yourself into certain positions and the enemy are unable to kill you. You can just sit there and take damage and take damage and take damage. And as long as you're staying alive, you're going to get a lot of shots out and you're going to do a lot of damage. So there's something contesting B right now. The Sphere has taken a while to radar. Somewhat good for us. We may get an opportunity to hit the Cerberus here. So if the Sphere does radar, I'm going to pre-aim for the Cerberus. We could potentially have a Dev Strike on our hands. Just going to be patient here and wait. Doesn't look like the Sphere is going to do it, so I'm going to take these shots on the broadside for a moment. A little bit difficult for me to push in aggressively. I was hoping to go down this gap, but going to have a Yamagiri and a Giri on a flank, so that's a pretty big no-no. Los Andes is going to cross that gap before he gets shots on us. He did shoot, so he's going to be reloading. There's the Gdansk. The Gdansk is spotted. He is trying to farm me. I go dark. Not an issue for me. That's fine. Los Andes did in fact shoot, but I'm not taking damage. That's okay. Common dispersion at this range, very, very good. And I'm actually shooting over the island, so completely unspotted. And we will nuke that Gdansk, 6k down. I believe he's going to eat a gearing top as well, so our priority should be looking for this Gdansk kill with the Sphere and the daring. If the Sphere radars, there he goes. That should be a dead gearing. Cerberus was back up for a moment. He does unfortunately go out of the Sphere radar. So we're not going to be able to get that kill. There is a Hanover pushing into the middle. So I think instead of pushing into this flank, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a crossfire with our Satsuma, Palmer, and Wisconsin, and I'm going to force this Hanover to sail broadside to me. I'm going to take a lot of damage. Now, positioning isn't ideal for this, so potentially want to wait for the Hanover to fire before I shoot, because we are kind of stuck broadside right now. We won't make this turn. And there's the shots. So we are going to shoot. He's just sailing in a straight line. pretty chunky superstructure, so we just aim center mass, and yep, 13k. Generally, we will do pretty big damage to German BBs. Russian AP quite effective, especially 18-inch AP. We do hear set off from over there. I did greed for that shot, punished. Fair enough. And I believe this Hanover will die. That Pommern should be torping him. I don't see any way that Pommern survives there. So what we might end up doing is we might just be poking our nose into here, greeting for one more shot on the Hanover before he dies, potentially looking to just hold around this area and delay the enemy team as they push in towards B. So there's the shots out on the Hanover again. It's getting taken lower and lower and lower. I'm going to land a lot of juicy bends on the superstructure. This is on that German BB superstructure, very vulnerable. And we're going to hold around this area. As long as those DDs haven't capped C yet, we're not under any immediate threat, but I can see our team being pushed out very quickly. I'm looking for the Cerberus, so I'm going to wait for the Cerberus to come up from behind this island. Ideally, he gets spotted by the Sphere. One thing we can do to create crossfires is I can push something like this, and then I can essentially be in enemy spawn with zero threat of punishment. It's a little risky because it does mean I have to go broadside to Vermont here. I'm going to do it anyway. The game is starting to come to an end, and I have plenty of resources to use. I have all my heals, all my DCPs, so it's time to use some of my resources and get some work done. Gonna be waiting here for the Cerberus. We overmatch him, so that means his armor isn't anywhere near as effective. I can full pen his nose. If I'm lucky, I can get a citadel. Means I'm more likely to get a citadel if I overmatch his side plating. And we are spotted, but the Cerberus isn't opening up, unless a DD is spotting me. There's the Vermont shots. I'm angled. I should have slowed down. In fact, I think I still had time. Vermont shots quite slow. There's the Cerberus. I can take a quick reaction shot. He's broadside to me here. If he doesn't accelerate out these shots, I believe he does. That's fine. Yeah, just overpens. He accelerated too much. That's okay though. Go careful of the island here. I'm going to remain angled to the Vermont. And Alaska pushing up broadside here. So gonna go look for this Alaska. While turning to the left here, just to watch for the Vermont shots, so I can make any evasive moves that are needed. Alaska's actually going for me, that's fine. I can tank. I have all my resources up, I'm not afraid of taking damage. And there's the Vermont shots, so I'm immediately going to slow down and turn hard right. And we actually get a good salvo on the Alaska there, at 20k. Potentially leading to a kill here. They've been completely pushed out by our team. Unfortunately, the Wisconsin and the Satsuma did come over to me, so they've completely nullified the crossfire I was trying to create. Going to look for the finish on the Alaska here, just waiting for the shots. You see he's turning in, so he's coming for the broadside. He's going to start turning back out. I should have aimed slightly higher. But honestly, it should be okay. Cerberus is currently lit for us. I believe he's firing penalty by daring. Good angle against the main here, but I'm going to want to turn back in as soon as I go dark. I am being spotted, so Cloak's ping was correct. There's a DD somewhere around here inside the cap. Those look like pretty fast torpedoes, so I believe that is the Yamagiri. I would like to coin flip a turn, but with all my cooldowns on, I could get punished very heavily. Gearing, Cerberus, Vermont, main, can do a lot of damage very quickly, and if I get caught without cooldowns, it will be punishing. My angling's pretty poor here, if I'm honest, but I kind of wanted my guns on for when this opportunity pops up, so the Cerberus has come back in. I don't think I'm going to get all my guns on, seeing that he's turning slightly to the left here. I'm going to greed and get all my guns on. Unfortunately, someone else takes the kill, but that's okay. Still not able to turn in yet. The gearing is still in that smoke. You see the new smoke puff come out here. He's reversing up, so he could potentially be torping me right now, so I want to be angled against those torps. The main goes dark before I can get the... Oh, no, he's back up. So the main's the priority target here. We just help the team finish off this main. I'm not sure why we had a Shima open water gunboating, and also the main turns in and dodges my shots. We have to be aware there is a Sicilia. You see these smoke puffs here on the map. So the Sicilia will come in at some point soon. This main should be dead. I'm going to launch a shot anyway and attempt to steal a kill though. And we are going to repush into the enemy team. Gearing's still somewhat blocking me, so I'm going to have to wait for the daring. We've moved at the right time here, should be avoiding the gearing torps. I'm going to full turn in to get us out of their line. I'm still being lit, so I believe the Yamagiri is going to be somewhere to the north of us. And I want to be throwing hands with the Sicilia, but I believe either Jaeger or the Satsuma will take him out anyway. There's more torpedoes here. All I can really do is turn and hope I only hit one. In fact, there's a Yamagiri, point blank range to me. My dispersion at this range is absolutely lethal, and he will eat 8k. I believe I'm going to eat 2 torps in return. Quite unfortunate. That's okay though, have all my resources, and I'm now angled. I know he has at least 1 set of torps on reload. In fact, they're spotted again. I'm immediately slowing before they were spotted. Predicting the launch. Did get broadside to Sicilia, but unfortunately we didn't get punished. Went to reload, and Yamagiri turns broadside. This shot should kill. And it does not, but our daring division body does kill him. Now we are crossfired here. My only real solution to this is to push in. In fact, the Sicilia died, I didn't notice. So we are free to go. Just going to go brawl with the Vermont, keep the island between me and the daring here, and there will be no torpedo threat. The Los Andes is in fact coming out broadside behind this island, so I'm not checking my minimap enough there, to be honest with you. Another mistake on my part. Aside from the Hanover damage we took earlier. Dispersion's not great there, don't really punish the Los Andes as much as I would have hoped to. He is going to get into secondary range of us. Unfortunately, these 2 BBs back here aren't really going to be supporting me. Los Andes will turn me a new one, but as long as I'm angled, it should last a very long time, unless Vermont gets a exceptionally good superstructure hit. Some pings coming out from the RPF of the Jaeger there. Never mind. So as long as I keep this island between me and those RPF pings, I should be pretty immune to torpedoes. Los Andes is still staying broadside to me here. I'm angled against both of them. In fact, procs my IRR after 2 million potential damage. In fact, the gearing has come out in front of us, so we're going to be reversing. As the gearing is going to be torping us from in front, so I want to put my island between the gearing and the torps. So in this instance, we're not at full efficiency heal yet, but we're on fire, so we know we're going to be taking damage for a while, and we know we're going to get maximum value out of this heal anyway. Potentially I could have lasted it longer, but I'm expecting a Vermont, Alaska, and Los Andes to shoot at me. Los Andes is funny buttoning, so secondary is going to be on me for a while. Just aiming for the closest part, so the least angle part. Unfortunately the shells go high, potentially bad aim there. Just gotta wait for this gearing to get out, and then once the gearing's out, I can just push, really. Satsuma pushing into the gearing. I see the gearing torps on the Satsuma, so that will be the gearing torps out, which means there is no pressure from that guy now, and I can push. At this point in the game, I've got 4 DCPs left, and there's 6 minutes left of the game. I can just spam DCP or whatever fires come at me, so if there are any reasons more to DCP, I will be taking them. Angle here pretty well against the Vermont, unless he gets an insane superstructure hit, we should be fine. Heal in 30 seconds, so actually heal before he reloads. Not too afraid of him. I am afraid of the gearing, I'm showing broad to the gearing here. Greeting for a bit more damage at this point. Hopefully Satsuma has pushed the gearing out of the cap. We're going to go nose in to reduce the profile against the Vermonts, and I'm going to slow down in order to throw off any potential gearing torps that could have been thrown in front of me here. So we see the Vermonts kiting away from us here, so I'm going to aim slightly higher to compensate for him kiting away. Most of those shells though went into superstructure, but we were aiming a bit low. Maybe I'm coping, I don't know. So generally, when you're aiming, you want to line up your dot on the minimap where the ship's trajectory is. So you see how he's going like this. You want to have your dot somewhere around in front of his nose, about as level as you can with him. Gearing torch spotted here. I was already moving forward, so I'd avoid those. But that means we know gearing somewhere on this trajectory. The one's turning into us. He sets a fire. Unfortunately for him, I have all my DCPs left, so I don't really care about fires. I'm not going to get burned to death. I can keep just unloading shells into him and just consistently dealing damage. He's in fact going broad to us, so we're going to get the rear turret on here. I'm going to get over aggressive now because him and the gearing the only people left on his team. There's a minute 42 left of the game, so we can do some very good damage. Unlucky I just fired there. I'm on reload for 21 seconds while the gearing's up. He should die to the daring anyway, it's fine. And I do in fact 57k the Kremlin there. Quite unlucky he doesn't die. After showing me that broadside for so long and going unpunished. But it's okay. The Satsuma will take him down, and it's just the gearing left, so that is pretty much game over. Very much that game, quite a long game. Just a showcase of how, in a BB, if you use all your consumables and take your time, you will always consistently get good results. Make sure you're alive. Make sure you're still using those consumables, staying alive. I say that I've only used 2 DCPs, but I have used all of my heals. So I've made the most of my HP. Using 5 heals this game, I've essentially doubled my HP. I will have taken around 200,000 damage, and I've traded that evenly, dealing about 230,000.